Hello everybody, welcome to the Braid and Tinker YouTube channel. My name is Melanie and this is a video cast about knitting. So if you're here for anything else, you're wrong. The YouTube algorithm has tricked you. This is a video cast about knitting. I'm talking about knitting. I'm knitting things and then holding them up, so yay! Welcome. It is Thursday morning. It is the 7th of November. How is it November suddenly? I don't really understand how this is. I feel slightly stressed about Christmas, even though I shouldn't be, because like Christmas shouldn't really be a thing that stresses you out. But suddenly I feel like, oh, am I doing all the things that I should be doing to enjoy the Christmas season, which is ridiculous. But yeah, that is how it goes. Welcome. I finished a couple of things this week and I thought I would share them with you. And I have some like brain things I want to talk about. A book I'm reading that is terrible. Yeah, so let's get cracking. Last week I showed you this sock. This is the Odeline sock, which is my original sock pattern that you can find on Ravelry. Just look for Odeline socks. I'll put a link in the description box below this video if you want to find it. But this is the sock pattern. This is the sock. It's my second pair of socks in this pattern. This is Mondim yarn, which is a from a company called Retrosario Rosa Pomar, which is a Portuguese brand. And the colorway, I think I said last time it was 205, but it's 208. This is 208. So if you're looking for it, that's it. This is how far I got. And yeah, I turned the heel and I'm at the foot. So it's slightly less awkward to show, but I didn't make a ton of progress on this sock. I've been very diligently knitting on other things, so this did not get a ton of attention. I am using my own stitch marker, which I beaded. So proud. I think it's so cute. It's a little envelope. So yeah, there's that. I have a little bit of a sock march going on actually, because I was opening some project, because I was like, I don't have any projects, or not many projects on the go. And then, but on the couch there was all these project bags with stuff in them, so I was digging around. One of them is actually my rose cardigan, a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I had some issues with the border, what's this thing, like the edging, the neckband, the button band. So I have been ripping some of that out, but because I knit it in mohair, or mohair held double with a different yarn, it is a terrible time ripping that out. So it's kind of in timeout in a little bag. I do want to continue working on that soon because it is very warm, and I think I'll like it when it's very cold outside. So anyway, so that's one of the bags. And then this bag had all these sock projects in it. This, for instance, I was gonna knit a pair of socks out of this for my son, but it's way too big for him. So I think I'm gonna turn it into a pair of socks for a friend of mine at work, because I still owe her a pair of socks because she stopped smoking, and I said I'd give her a pair of socks if she stopped smoking. This would probably be slightly too tight on me, but I think she has smaller feet than I have, so I think it'll be fine. But yeah, this is Patton's Croy I don't know what the number, I think it's like Sunburst or Summer Burst, something like that. I don't think I have the label anymore. But it's a very, very nice yarn. It's very plump. I would say this is a sport weight, not really a sock weight. But yeah, my plan was to just knit an entire tube and then cut in heels and toes. But maybe I'll just, yeah, knit toes and then do the same thing again, and then later cut in the heels, and that will be slightly easier. I'm knitting these on 2.75 high sharps. This cable, it's a shorter cable. I find it easier to have if I'm doing one sock, to not have like inches and inches of sock cable or a needle cable. So it's not a 9-inch circular sock needle. I haven't knit ever with those. I don't really feel inclined to. I don't think I would like that very much. But some people seem to enjoy that very much and have had great success with it. So that's great. Different strokes stuff. So yeah, I really like how this is patterning out, and I'm not sure, I think because I realized it was going to be too big for my son that I put it away. But now that I have decided I have a different person who can wear these socks, I probably will finish these up quite quickly, because this is a thicker yarn. This knits up so fast. So yeah, I hope to finish these soon. Then I have another sock that is actually pretty close to being finished. This is, oh, I don't know what yarn this is. Oh, I remember. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's one of their bird collection yarns. And this is how that is knitting up. I'm very, very close to the end. I just need to put the cuffs in, really. I don't know why this is not finished. This is like one evening and I have a pair of socks to wear. I feel a bit rushed, but it's because it's Thursday morning and I had one of those sessions with at my son's school, where I go to the school and I read with a group of kids. And then in the back of my mind, I'm always like, oh, if I want to record a podcast, I need to rush home and do that, because I won't have a ton of time left. So yeah. And also I ran out of my favorite coffee, so I had to get coffee, my favorite coffee at the supermarket quickly, and then come here, make the coffee, and then I could record a podcast. And so sorry if I seem super flustered and going through this all crazy, but yeah, that's because I am crazy. Hooray. Yeah, so that's like 3 socks on the go at the moment, in different stages of finishedness, if that's the thing. So yeah, I could have some of those finished quite quickly, I think. But the reason I wasn't knitting on those socks for a bit was because I was knitting on my Stephen West mystery knit along shawl, which is finished because I am wearing it. Oh, let me take it off, because I don't think I took any nice photos of this yet. So just holding it up is all I have. This thing is gigantic. I really, really like it. I love the brioche. I have to say this, the brioche section is my favorite part. It does take my hairs. I feel like this is the Stephen West Wool that I used in I think the dark grey is Canal House and the greeny one is Lichen. And it's 90% Falkland Merino, 10% Tessel. I think that this will pill quite badly. Although I haven't had any pills, it is already quite fluffy, which is fine. I quite like it like that. But I do expect some massive pilling. Although I have to say, that's what I initially expected, and now I've worn it quite a bit and it hasn't peeled yet. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's fine. But yeah. So this is a plumper yarn, I think, than most people who are knitting it out of probably like a single ply merino or maybe even some sock yarn. This is definitely warmer and plumper. I do knit quite tight, so I don't think mine is bigger. I also think if you're knitting it out of single ply and you're a loose knitter, it just becomes extremely drapey and huge, which is, you know, fine. But I think mine is probably slightly different to most people's. It is very big, it is very warm and very soft. I'm really, really happy with it. And I've had a lot of compliments on this shawl at work as well, even from non-knitters who are like, but how did you do this part, or how did you make it go round like that, or how did you, it seems to, the shape is so interesting that it's like even the muggles are interested in how this was made. So really happy with it. Would I knit it again? Probably not anytime soon. It's a massive knit, so I don't think so, but I do recommend the pattern. So if you haven't knit this yet, because you mystery knit alongs are not for everybody, and sometimes you just want to hold off and wait and see what it is and what you get. So yeah, I totally understand that. I'm actually really like that. I was kind of not forced, but I was requested to partake in this knit along by Julia from the Happy Knitting podcast, and Marion, her friend. They were going to do it, and they were talking about it at the Oslo Knitting Festival, and so I decided I would join. They didn't really have to twist my arm, don't worry. But yeah, I am really happy. There is some sections of this shawl that make me so happy, like yeah, the brioche part where it kind of dips. I just find the motif feels so Art Deco-y. I think it's also because of the colors that I used that it does feel quite dramatic. I really, really like it, and it's so nice and warm, which is great because it's getting cold outside. So yay! After I finished this, because this was such a big and long knit, I was like, I need a tiny project because I need to like have a little palette cleanser. So I cast on some of my Anna's Angora skein that I purchased at the Oslo Knitting Festival. And I cast on the November Cowl, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it was finished in 2 nights, which is insane. Let me just pop it on for you. The Starflake shawl is so big that it does double as a schlanket. It's like a tight cowl, which is something that I wanted because I like the comfort of big, like oversized cowls, but really I want something that is warm on my neck and that I can put under a coat, and that's not in the way of doesn't add bulk to the coat. So I'm really happy with this. The yarn is really, really soft, although there is a slight prickle. I wouldn't say it's not like yeah, it's just really, really soft. But because there are longer hairs in it, I think it might be prickly on some people, because this is bunny hair basically. So Angora has a really bad rap, which I understand because not all animals are treated very well when they farm for this particular fiber. But I met this lady who has these bunnies, and she has had a great flyer with like photos of the bunnies, and she was talking about how she takes care of them, and they need to shave them every 4 times a year, I think, so every quarter. And that's how they get the fiber and then spin it into yarn. I felt comfortable and okay in purchasing this fiber. But I would say if you are interested in purchasing Angora fiber, do check out where you are buying them and how the fibers are produced and how the bunnies are treated. Because they're bunnies, you need to treat them properly, obviously. Anyway, this is the November Cowl. Again, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. There are mistakes in the pattern. I found two. So when I put this on Ravelry as a project, I will add corrections for that, because I think this pattern's been out for quite a while, and it's really a referral to a lady's blog post about how she knit this thing, which is fine. Fair enough. Also the corrections are quite obvious. There's one bit where on all the last stitches of a section you do purls, and in one of the rows it says knit, so it's obviously a purl. It's obviously a typo. And there was another error where you have per section a certain amount of stitches, and one ends in a yarn over, and then she added a knit one to that row, which it doesn't make sense, because then you would have one more stitch in the stitch count for that section. So I'll put the corrections on my project page for for this cowl. But otherwise, I did find this very, very enjoyable. I'm really happy that I found a nice small project that uses up most of my Angora skein, and it was so fast. If you're looking for like fancy Christmas presents to make, this took me 2 evenings. It's so blazingly fast. So I totally recommend it. November Cowl. I forget the designer's name. I'll put it in the description box, or I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, totally recommend this. But do check out my corrections on my project page. It's probably easy to find because there's not many projects. It's one of those projects that doesn't have, or it's one of those patterns that has a low project number on Ravelry, which I do enjoy finding, because I don't always want to knit like Stephen West that has like 1 million projects on Ravelry, because everybody's knitting that already, and it's fine to join in a mystery knit along, once every while. And I do appreciate that podcast viewers want to see items knit by me that are popular patterns, but I do think that people are also interested in sort of like the unsung hero patterns, sort of putting them in the spotlight that you may not find as quickly. I do spend a lot of time browsing Ravelry, so I have my own methods of setting things up to find stuff. But yeah, so this is the November Cowl. Okay, so next thing, a little while ago I bought some really, really soft yarn to knit a hat for a certain person. She knows who she is. It's my mum. And it is Rowan Alpaca Super Soft DK, I believe. I don't think I have the label here. Nope, no idea where that went. Anyway, it's really nice, soft. It's really soft, really soft. I would not use this in a garment. This would pill in 3 minutes, I think. But yeah, I am knitting her a hat, and this is the tied knots pattern. It's also a free pattern on Ravelry. See, I'm giving you all the good free stuff today. By Justina. I'll put her name in the. I think I have some Angora in my eye. Yeah. I can never remember her name. Justina something with an L. It's not that I can't pronounce it, I just can't remember what it is. It's so terrible. Anyway, I'll put it in the screen. Tied knots pattern. It's free pattern on Ravelry. It's really, really nice. It works, seems to work really nicely with this yarn. And yeah, it's quite a bit of cabling, but I'm doing cable needleless cabling. There are a ton of video tutorials on YouTube about that, so you can quite easily find that. People will do a better job of explaining that than I do. But yeah, I think I like a dramatic cable because it really gives like a little extra something to your knit, I feel. So yeah, I'm not sure though that I have enough of this, but I like it so much that I think I might buy another 2 balls of this, and then if it's too much for this hat, I'll just knit another one of them, because I think I might like one for myself as well. It's really nice. It's really soft, this yarn. It's good for a hat, I think. It's Alpaca DK Super Soft something by Rowan. Totally recommend that. I think that's it for this week. That's all my knits. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but yeah. So what have I been doing this week? Not a whole bunch. I cleared away all our Halloween decorations, even though, so in the Netherlands people don't really celebrate Halloween. I quite like having Halloween decorations in the house, but we don't really celebrate it. Some people do. I know in my mum's neighborhood there are people who take their kids trick-or-treating, but in the Netherlands we have a different thing called Sint Maarten, and that's on Monday the 11th of November. And kids go around houses, they sing songs, and then they get treats. They don't dress up, but they make a lampion. I don't know the English word. That's weird. It's like a stick with a light, and then they make like a paper thing surrounding it. So it's like a little light festival, I would say. Children's light festival. Anyway, so my kid's in school, and they decorated their lampion at the school. So they gave the kids 2 metal rings, and they had to get it together in some way, make it look nice. And so the school is celebrating it tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going there, and it'll be mayhem because it's all the kids going crazy, and parents and teachers, and like everybody's invited, so it's insane. But not really looking forward to that. Anyway, so yeah, that's on Monday. So I did clear away my Halloween decorations, but I'm going to keep because I have like a witch's pot, and I'm going to keep that to put candy in, so that when the kids come round the doors on Monday evening, I can just give them candy from that. You know how the Odeline pattern, I got that name from a book called Witches of New York by Amy McKay, and I really enjoyed that book, and I was reading it because I heard in the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast, I heard about that book, and someone had told Jacqueline like, oh, I think you'll like this book, and so like blah blah blah. And then apparently some people had said like, oh, if you like that book, you should read A Discovery of Witches. So I started reading that. Wow, that book is terrible. Like, for me, like, I don't believe in witches. I don't think magic is real. Don't worry, I'm not a crazy person. But I think witches are interesting in terms of that they are women who are empowered from themselves. They don't get their power because a man decides to give them power, if you understand. It's a very sort of self-empowering thing. And I find that interesting because I work in tech and there are lots of discussions about diversity in tech, not just a gender diversity, obviously, but yeah, there are not many women in tech. And I'm very interested in why that is, because historically it hasn't always been that way. In the past, software developers were mainly women. It was seen as typing and switchboarding work, and that was women's work. So software development was women's work until about the 80s. That's when it all changed. Something that I'm really interested in, and because of that, I'm very interested in the power dynamics between men and women. And so I think like women who are interested in witchcraft or witches, to me, it's not about, oh, now I can do magic and I am special or something. It's more of a reclaiming of the sort of like feminine power. And but a discovery of witches is terrible because so it's this lady who is a witch, but she doesn't want to be a witch. She wants to be normal. So she denies, like, she refuses to use her powers for anything. But then she falls in love with this vampire. And he is like the typical alpha male, and it is alluded to this in the book all the time, like, oh, he was so angry, he just like, somebody is like mean to her and then he just murders this person, and she just like sort of like the whole book just kind of waves this away, like, oh well, he's so in love with her, he couldn't do anything else but murder this person. It's like, okay, problematic, but fine. And like, oh yeah, and he's a scientist and he wrote a book about power structures in wolf packs and like being the alpha wolf and blah blah blah, which, if you know any of the actual science, the person who like wrote that book about alpha male packs in wolves has already like discredited, is that the word, that his own work, because he says that only works. Wolves only display this behavior when they are in confinement. Regular wolf packs have an alpha and a male and an alpha female because they're generally the parents of that wolf group. So anyway, and so I'm just really annoyed that they have this like pseudo-science-y stuff that is already wrong. And it's just like, so this is like this lady who makes a choice in life, and she's a scientist and like an interesting character, and she becomes this sort of like, oh, I'm so in love with Matthew, I can't do anything else. And all of this like whole book, it's because it's like they start a war between all the witches and the vampires because their love is forbidden. Oh no. It's just, I don't know why I keep reading it, but it's on my Kindle and like I'm reading it at night and I don't have the energy to find anything else to read, and I'm at 95% now, and I just think I might as well just read the whole thing. But it's just, you know, out of a, maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll go, like, all the problematic chauvinistic bullshit will get less. No, it doesn't. It just keeps on going. It gets worse and worse. Yeah. Don't recommend. I really like The Witches of New York because it was about women and their place in society and how men try to control them but couldn't because these women were like badass and amazing. A Discovery of Witches is bleh. I don't know. And so I find out this was turned into a television program. I cannot watch that. Drivel. Terrible. I will not. I refuse. Don't watch that. Don't read that book. It's the worst. So, thank you for coming to my feminist knitting podcast. If you have any other book suggestions that you want me to destroy on YouTube, please put them in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again next week. That would be great. And that some of my socks are finished. Happy knitting.